Hi everyone, I just wanted to give a quick intro to this video, maybe even just a small explanation. It is essentially a little interview with a friend of mine, but at the time it had been recorded, it was probably about a week or two after the events of Charlottesville, and a little incident that had happened over here as well. I say little, but that's not quite the case. It wasn't a little incident, but bearing that in mind, it's taken me a long time to edit it. It was a very long conversation we had. I've also been working constantly since then. I've just now finally managed to finish it and get it up for you guys. I hope you enjoy it, and with all that said, I hope you take that into consideration when viewing the content. Enjoy. Thank you. I suppose I'll do the intro thing first, and then we'll get it on. All right.
Let's get it on. It's time to get down.
Today's video is going to be a different one. I'm going to be talking to my friend John from across the pond.
John from across the pond.
Yeah. Me and John have been good friends for a long time now. It's like the best part of a decade, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. We met on Halo 3. And we just killed it together. Isn't that right? We just killed that game. And
yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to John for a long time on this, and have a conversation with him because he's a very interesting guy, and
oh, how flattering!
Yeah, and he can hear everything I'm saying as well. This is called buttering him up. But yeah, and also we've got, we wanted to talk about certain things, and yeah, we're just going to do that now. So that's enough of like the video intro, dude. I'm just going to fucking, get on with it. So John, what are you doing right now?
I'm actually looking up the gamer score for Halo and everything just to see like how much of this we did, and it's so I have 93% of the Halo 3 achievements and 97% of the Halo 3 ODST achievements.
Really?
And
I thought we 100%'ed Halo 3. I know I did.
I didn't get the chance to get a few of the achievements.
Right.
But in all honesty, it was just a really good time getting everything we got. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know, like it was just a good time.
Yeah, we did all that, and then you disappeared, dude.
I went to college, so
yeah.
I started a job that summer, and then I went to college, and then life. That's all I really can say.
Yeah,
is life.
There was, yeah, man. And then from college, didn't you join the Marines?
Yeah, I left school in order to join the Marine Corps, and had some trouble with my hearing, and then I was discharged from the Marine Corps, and then ever since then I've been living life.
Working jobs.
And,
moving around,
job to job, new location to new location, and just kind of, riding the ebbs and flows of life, and studying and teaching, and just trying to pretty much figure out what life is all about, and it's been a wild, epic adventure.
Yeah. Well, we only just reconnected, isn't that right? We didn't speak to each other online or in any other way for it was about five years or something.
It was a few years. Yeah, I'd say probably like 4.5 years or so, and
Yeah.
then um, I just kind of got like grounded again, and
Yeah. I tell you what, dude.
yeah.
I've got to interrupt you because I can remember the day. I haven't told you this yet. I can remember the actual day that I saw your name pop up on Xbox Live, and I was like, "Fucking hell, it's Jhan! I haven't seen Jhan for
You sh-
ages."
you
Party.
should tell me what day that was.
I don't know what day it was, man. It was. I remember it
Oh,
was about 3 years ago though, because I was in my house, and
yeah.
Shannon my girlfriend Shannon had just started like living with me, and we both had Xboxes and TVs in the living room,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah,
"Doing this
that was
party."
about yeah, it was about 2 summers ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
man.
I got an Xbox One. I was like, I just things have finally started rolling in my way, in my direction. So I was like, screw it. I've been working hard, and
Yeah.
I was like, I
It was
finally
time
just
to
had
treat
my,
yourself, dude. That's what it was. It
yeah,
was
I just finally had my, toes under me. Not my whole feet yet, but I had my toes under me. So
Yeah.
I was like, screw it, let me just get this Xbox. Like, I want to enjoy this. And it was probably the best thing I've done because I've been able to connect with, family and friends,
Yeah,
and
dude.
shout out to Xbox.
Oh yeah. I talk about Xbox a lot on this channel because like it is my number one thing since the 360 days and first actually getting like my own internet connection and playing Halo games
Mhm.
online for the first time, because I'd been
Mhm.
playing all the games campaigns from like the first one onwards, and I always loved them, and I always kept coming back to the first one and going through it, and the second one and going through it, and I must have played the
Yeah.
third campaign about 50 billion times, and then I finally
Yeah.
thought,
I was there for about a few billions.
yeah, at least the last few thousand, yeah, and like I think I got to the point where I finally went, I've got this 14-day trial, because you remember that, like, Xbox fans, when they used to give you 14 days free, and I thought,
I remember
right,
those.
I
And they used to
thought,
come with the Xbox magazines too.
yeah, they did sometimes, yeah, man, and, like, yeah, I got it, and I thought, right, that's it, I'm doing it, and I did it, and I started playing Halo 3 for the first time online, like, first time playing, like, multiplayer and doing Team Slayer, and it was like, I'm gonna do this all the time now. Then my 14 days was up, and I was just completely. I felt like I'd lost a dear
Something a
relative.
piece.
Like, yeah, I felt like a close relative had died or something. I was sort of sat in my old flat with nothing to do. So I was like, right, that's it, and I ended up finding a cheap one online for a year's subscription, and I just bought it, and pretty much haven't been off Xbox Live Gold since. And shortly after that, that's how I met you through another friend of yours at the time.
Yep.
Yeah. I jumped into a Halo 3 lobby, and I just went into the game chat, and I was like, "Hey, anyone got ODST? Because I want to do this
I
co-op
remember.
achievement." And I remember this guy popped up and went, "Yeah, I got it." And I went, "Okay." And yeah, for the record, he did sound exactly like that. I got it. And I went, "Yeah, all right, cool. I'll invite you to the lobby." And I left the game instead of playing that game with everyone. I just left, and I sat in the ODST game, just refreshing and like inviting over and over again, just like, come on, come on, come on, come on. And then he invited you in, and these over days and weeks and whatever. But yeah, that's history. That's how it all started.
Yeah, it's been written since then, huh?
Yeah, dude. And what a weird.
Yeah, well, I don't know that many of us I don't know that a lot of people would be as connected as they are now if it wasn't for Xbox. You know, it's just
No, well,
it's
that's
pretty
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Even in my family, like you know, my cousins tell me all the time, like, yeah, we grew up just playing like, you know, Xbox with our uncle, and being on Xbox Live and finishing so many games and playing so many multiplayer things, and it's just like it's how they hang out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
I mean, and it seems weird to some people. Like, what do you mean that's how you hang out? But it's just like that's what they do. That's the kind of shit you do with your uncle. It's
Yeah, man.
you. Are we? Is it cool to use profanity? Like, I don't know.
We'll try and keep it to a minimum, but like every now, if you drop
I
one
can
every now and
totally
again,
not.
it doesn't matter.
I
It's
can,
it's cool.
yeah, I can totally not even. I'm
No,
really good at that.
I'm gonna drop the old F every now and again, and you know, and the S every now and again, because it's just
I
like it's in the vernacular of how we talk, is it not? You know?
I can guarantee you that I won't say any of them anymore. Like, I'm really good at that.
Ah, fuck it, dude.
I
It's
don't know
fine.
why.
No,
I should be
I
a
just
video
like
host, right?
I try and sort of buzz them out every now and again.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I think that sounds cool and funny. Did you just drop something,
Batman just fell off the shelf.
dude? What is your house leaning like?
I don't know what it is. I think it's because I was moving around and I shook the wall. It's
It's because they don't have superpowers. Him, Nightwing, they don't have superpowers.
yeah.
That's why they keep falling off the
He
shelf.
went for the grapple hook thing and it missed. He just went down.
Oops.
But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway,
So
I was going to bring this in because like we as a result of Xbox, and largely it's audio. When when you connect with people, you're just talking in a party. The only thing that distinguishes people is really it's just accent, and so
Yeah.
people go like, "Dude, are you British?" And I go, "Yeah, yeah, of course I am, dude. Yeah, yeah." I mean, but I've never had to go like, "Dude, are you American?" Which is weird.
I mean, I don't know. It's
Dude, are
one
you
of
British?
those weird things.
But
You
I
know,
was like,
somebody
yeah, man.
actually. So I've never been able to sarcastically. I mean, I have been able to. Anyways, point is, I was driving for Lyft the other day, and I'm watching. I'm just listening to these guys talk or whatever, and then somehow I get dragged into this conversation and they ask me where I'm from because they're like, "Oh, we're from Philly. We're not from here," and I'm like, "Word, I'm not really from here either. You know, I just moved." And they're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "From New York." They're like, "Word, we were just in New York. Where are you from in New York?" And I'm like, "I'm from the Bronx." And they're like, "Oh my God, do you know my friend Abdul?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, we go to the meetings in the Bronx." Like,
Yeah, the Bronx meetings.
you know, the meetings for brown people. Like, no, man.
Oh man, there was the same thing when people go like, "Oh, I've got a British friend. Yeah, he lives in London." Like, yeah, you know him. I went,
yeah,
no.
like, that's hundreds of miles away from me, man.
Yes. No, I don't know the guy. You know, it's a small place compared to where you are, but not that small, man. You know, we go to the England meeting every day. You know, it's like I'll hang out in one giant hall.
Yeah.
Oh man,
we all know each other. They call attendance every morning.
But that's it. Like, and like I say, the point in bringing that up is like there wasn't even an issue of that. There was like fun things of like we talk even today. We talk about the different words that we use for certain objects or things like lift and elevator and and shit like that. But there was never like a. There was never, for instance, I didn't even know of your like racial heritage at all until the first time we sort of Skyped, and then we spoke about it, and that was it. And I was just like, yeah, John, he's American, okay, and it didn't even enter my mind. And then we Skyped, and I was like, dude, awesome, like,
it's like I won.
But I was like, it wasn't only that, but like I was like, you handsome man.
I am pretty charming, aren't I?
Yes, definitely. I have to put on
Yeah.
the extreme posh accent whenever we speak of looks. But yeah, dude, and like that's something else that I love about Xbox is it transcends all that stupid shit.
It does,
That
absolutely.
doesn't matter, you
Um,
know.
yeah, I think that as long as you guys are willing to, Xbox is all about bringing people together that are willing to, um, put some time aside in the day to just get together and try and
Yeah,
achieve a common goal, and that's pretty
even if
cool.
it's just
If I say so
Minecraft.
myself. Yeah, exactly. No,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
exactly. I think it's pretty cool if I say so myself. Even though we may be doing what some might categorize as a mundane task, like gathering stone wood and
Hello.
thatch in Ark. So, but my cousins and my uncle and my uncles and I, like, we spent hours doing that. Like, but we had a great time. So,
Yeah.
it's Xbox. It's just great. I don't know. It's a great place to meet people and just kind of forget the ugly things that are happening outside of your door. I would have said
Yeah.
the internet, but there's so many ugly things on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, we only really just spoke about, like, I might as well say it, like the Charlottesville fiasco and all that
Yeah.
shit that was happening like last week. And coming from this side of the pond, being a white guy, I was slightly devastated about the whole thing, and quite frankly, just shocked that ideology still exists. It seems so ancient from my perspective. Like it's not. Oh, that's the way people used to think. That's the way that those people thought in Germany because they were duped into it by one crazy guy.
It's just so bizarre because we've come from a time when pretty much everybody was in agreement that, like, Nazis were bad people.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really a question. So it's just so bizarre how we've, like, transgressed, how we've actually how do we get here?
Devolving.
I just don't understand.
It's like it's devolving, isn't it? There's no better word.
We're taking a step backwards, but I mean it's in the wrong direction. I just don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's left me quite incredulous, but I don't see how the world's most foremost superpower or leading innovator when it comes to different things, not necessarily technology, but there is a lot of innovation in technology in the United States, but innovation when it comes to moral opinion, and
well, I would argue that the word innovation counts across all kinds of things. Like, most people associate it with technology, but there is moral and, like, just human innovation in
day-to-day life. There's so much innovation in quality of life in the United States, and that's what everybody is so infatuated with when they think about America and how great it is. So, but how could we have gone backwards so many years, to practically the inception of the country to this vile sort of mindset?
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's unreal, man. Like, I think even the mainstream media over on this side of the pond was, like, looking at it from a point of view of utter shock. I don't even know if you can include disgust at that point, because at that point you're just watching it with your eyes wide open and your mouth gaping, like going, what the fuck is going on here? And then for one of them, and it wasn't actually at Charlottesville, was it, where that one guy in the car like rammed into a bunch of people because they were protesting against what happened in Charlottesville, and the one person to die was a white girl. And, like, this white crazy dude killed this white girl, which surely goes against his opinions, if that's really what he thinks.
It's just so bizarre. I think that I think there are some very bad people, to quote our great president. There are some very bad people out there.
On many
and they
sides,
just don't. They
sides.
wanted to do right. Well, there are some pretty like terrible people out there, and they want to do bad things. And I think that they feel now more than ever they have a license to.
Yeah.
And
no. Yeah.
That's
going to get
that's
onto
just
that.
the sad part, because the fact of the matter is, there have been people from the beginning of time, that have been wanting to do bad things to people for, it's, they're always there. There's always going to be, a bad apple. But now it's like they're entitled to be bad.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of society do we live in, where we're letting people get away with dumb shit because we have something like freedom of speech? Like, I'm not trying to tell people what they can and cannot say, but you have to have some sort of tact. You can't just say whatever comes to mind because you think that's cool.
We touched on that before when we were talking about this, that like I remember I quoted Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, that and it relates, as weird as that sounds to probably everybody listening to this, like it does relate, because what was it he said? Your scientists were so busy thinking about how they didn't stop to think of whether or not they should. And when relating that to freedom of speech, that's exactly how it should be taught, that just because you can say and think these horrible things doesn't necessarily mean that you should. Yeah. The majority of British people, especially more upper class than lower class, because I mean, like, I'm technically lower class myself, and I live in a very lower class area, and there isn't a hell of a lot of politeness going around, say, on the street. But for instance, when I'm driving to and from work and things like that, people let you out, people wave, people thank you for letting them out, and you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a general politeness that does happen, even at a lower class level over here.
In the United States, we have these people in Massachusetts, and they're called massholes.
Right.
And it's like they're excited, they're happy and proud of the fact that they're assholes on the road, and they drive like dicks, and they have bumper stickers. This is a culture. This is a thing, You're
joking, really? Like,
I wish.
This is the first time hearing of this. So literally they go around essentially celebrating the shittiness of their attitude in cars.
Yeah, they're shitty motor vehicleists, and I actually cursed and I said I wouldn't, but it's just so cool. Like, it's so wow. Like, I just can't even. I'm so nonplussed when I think about this. I'm like, you guys are, you're an asshole, and you're happy about this. What is this?
I don't get it.
I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I think we definitely have that in common. That, like, I don't think either one of us really truly understands what it means to be horrible to people and mean it.
No. Yeah, I can't.
Anyway, actually, I'm gonna have to acknowledge the fact that my camera's gone down. I'm currently charging the battery, so I'll get video of me back in there as soon as I possibly can. Anywho,
Okay.
with that said,
I'm gonna take a little pause. I gotta take a piss. This is
yeah, man, cool.
all right.
Yeah, we were talking about the whole crazy race rioting rubbish that's happening over there, and the very fact that, like, your current president, on the rhetoric that he used in the the run up to the election and all that, seems to have, at least in their minds, verified that it's now okay to have those sorts of thoughts and feelings on racial prejudice, etc., etc., bigotry in general. We were talking also before about, like, a weird sort of old-fashioned style racism that exists mostly in the minds of older people. And also, I want to talk a little bit about something that I read as well. I wanted your opinion on it. There is a British black trans woman, like transed from a man to a woman, who after something had happened, I can't remember the full story. This is the worst thing, is I can't remember the full story as to why all this came out, but the statement she made was right now it's time to try and get rid of inherent racism by white people, and then it was like ... yes, that's right, all white people. And it was like basically saying that if essentially you were born, you're instantly racist, because essentially you hold up the institution by being born to a certain race. I have to
That's
laugh.
a bit much.
I have to laugh because of the
That's a bit of a stretch there, huh?
I'm laughing because, like, I'm saying it and I'm realising the ridiculousness of what I'm saying as I'm saying it. Or, like, anything we were going to be talking about it, and, like, it's just, like, redundant because of the words themselves. It just, like, it was just a weird thing.
Yeah, that's no. You're not gonna blame a child's birth, for no. You're not gonna say he's racist or she's racist because they were born.
Yeah.
Those are things that are taught. Those are things that are learned.
It's environmental.
You cannot. Yeah. You cannot be born racist. I don't feel.
No.
I don't like you can be born
after having
racist.
kids myself and just witnessing the way kids play, they're not looking for other kids that look the same as them to play with. They're looking for any kid to play with whatsoever.
Right.
They're
looking for the kid that wants to play the way they play.
Or even just a kid in general, to see what they're doing.
Right.
And see if they can join in, I look at my kids and the way they play, and, like, the way my little daughter, if we take her out in, like, the pushchair carriage thing, and even a 10-year-old little girl walking past, she'll instantly lock eyes with her and follow her until she's out of view. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, the kids see kids and they instinctively recognise each other. And they go, like, you're a kid as well, I want to play with you, kind of thing. And it has nothing to do with anything except the fact that they're children. It's like, they somehow instinctively know the difference between children and adults. And they know that a kid is more likely to be playing with them than an adult is. Or at least play the way they want to play, kind of thing, because kids are kids and adults are adults. And I think there's something genetic in us as far as that is concerned. But kids don't recognise, like, race. I mean, they're not blind. They see the
Right, they
physical
see it.
differences in people, but
Right.
that's just physical differences, you know. And like that's, and this woman said that was essentially it. Me saying, you know, you're born racist was like elaborating on what she said. It wasn't her exact words. Her words were that, like, all white people are racist because essentially we represent the establishments that held other races down across the world. And of course she's British, so she's talking about the quote-unquote British Empire that essentially dominated over much of the world for a long time. But before that, you had Romans doing that, and Vikings, and I don't think Vikings gave a fuck whether or not you were brown, white, purple, or, you know, blue. They were going to rape and pillage your village. They were going to do it regardless, you know? And
pretty much.
Yeah. And
they used to do it to each other before they did it to other people.
Yeah, of course they did, yeah. And the thing that bugged me about this was that, like, again, that falls under the same mindset as these Charlottesville morons, as these neo-Nazi morons in America. Essentially, in my eyes, she's just as racist as that. And then that brings us to another subject of people. It's a new trend to say that if you say what you, whoa, there goes Nightwing. Anyway, if you were say racist towards a white guy, especially a white guy versus like a white woman, then you're not racist because it's directed towards a white person.
That doesn't make sense. That's stupid.
I agree, and that's pretty much why I'm bringing it up, because just like it doesn't make sense.
You cannot have an argument that is against racism that allows you to be racist or you know, display racist acts towards another person because of their race. Like, that doesn't make sense. You can't justify yourself.
Yeah. See, that's what I thought myself, was like, any argument you have against racism goes completely out the window when you start being racist.
Yeah.
Towards any race, it doesn't matter. That's the whole point. It shouldn't matter. I don't agree with racism in any shape or form, but that's mainly because I don't really judge people in general, like, over anything. There was a dude I started working with this week who was talking about the fact that he goes out and buys like £700 worth of tracksuit, like Armani tracksuits and shit, and I was like, I don't understand. Why would you do that? That's 2 months rent for my house, you know? That's, well, nearly 2 months rent. And I was like, I just don't understand it. And then he took that as an insult. The fact that I didn't understand it and I didn't want to go out and I wouldn't do that, he took that as an insult, and we nearly got into like a really big argument about it. And if it weren't for the fact that there was a trainer there that was training us up on the job,
right,
he may have started getting physical. Because I didn't agree with him didn't agree that buying, you know, £70 worth of trainers was a good thing. And he was talking about, I'd never buy anything second hand, ever. I'd never go into like a Goodwill charity shop or anything like that, never. And I'm like, well, do you at least give things to charity when you're done with them? Because I mean, they could do a lot with a Armani tracksuit or whatever. No, I've got a closet full of clothes that I don't wear. And I'm like, what? And it couldn't have been further away from my sense of, you know, life in general. And it was just confusing to me. I was just completely confused by the whole thing. But then, that again, the reason I bring that up is because that's exactly how I feel about racism. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, there's there's too much there's just too much of a I think a lot of these big ideas like, you know, racism, which is all in all by far, and it's just an idea,
Yeah.
and took off.
Yeah, it took
So,
off quite well in like the 1930s.
um, shit
In
for
the
before
1800s,
that,
1700s, 1600s, yeah. Let's keep going back in
and then
time.
same thing with, you know, like religion.
Mm, yeah.
Another big idea just took off, and it's, I don't know, these things, they're too much. They contradict themselves left and right, and it's just too much. It's just too much.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I talk like too much about this sort of thing, but the reason I'm talking about it, like whenever I bring this sort of subject up with anyone, it's because I don't understand it, and I feel like I can at least get some sort of insight into the mindset by bringing it up as a subject.
Right, right.
The worst thing is that there's a sort of a trend of people that are thinking now that even if you talk about it, that's a bad thing.
Right. It's I don't understand that, because
No.
if you're gonna if there's a problem, the only way that we're gonna get past the problem is by fixing it, and we have to talk about it, discuss it. You know,
Well,
we
that's
have
it.
to do we have to do this and enter into this kind of discourse if we're willing to try and progress as humans, and get past our problems. I think that this is a big stain on humanity. We shouldn't be doing this now, not at this stage in the game. I think we should
No.
be elsewhere.
And we should be having proper conversations about it. It should be out in the open. Which is
Yeah.
another, you know, here I am with my grand ideas in my tiny YouTube channel. It's like, part of the reason I wanted to do this video in the first place was so that we, hopefully, could, like, have a conversation about this thing, this weird-ass thing that's going on over there, and here to some extent. Like, I remember bringing up the fact that there was, hang on, while I'm talking, I'm setting the camera back up as well. Hi, right. What was I saying? Yeah, the whole ram raiding mosques thing happened, I think, shortly before the Charlottesville incident happened.
Yeah.
And a wonderful thing was it was a horrible fucking, you know, I like to say ill-informed, uneducated white guy did it. And he seriously injured people. I'm not sure if anybody died. I know that he very seriously injured several people, and a bunch of guys from the mosque jumped on him, or like ran after him and caught him and jumped on him and held him down. And in the video footage you can hear a guy really screaming at the guy, trying to find out why he did it, why would you do that, you know, and like absolutely screaming at the guy. But then seconds later, must be 30 seconds later, he's telling people to back off and not to hurt him as well. And I found that to be like awesome, because quite frankly, hate begats hate, does it not? You can't squash hatred with more hatred. You can't squash racism with more racism, you know. And it was an amazing video to watch, and to know that was happening and that it was real was a great thing as well, because like, people have a really bad opinion on like Muslims and things like that. No thanks to all the propaganda we were fed over those years of 9/11 and all those years ago, and the Iraq War and everything.
Yep.
That happened. Yep. And what people don't seem to get is, like, much like any other religion, it's based on something, and nowadays people have sort of do the new version of it. Like, the new version of Christianity is not to, like, go around stoning people that you think are witches and things like that. You know, they literally just do unto others and get on with their lives. You know, or at least I like to think that's what most people do. And the same goes for every other religion. The same goes for, you know, like Muslim, Buddhist. Well, they've always been Buddhist and peaceful and so on. Zen, as it were. And, you know, Sikhism, Hinduism, etc., etc. No one goes around these days with a fire and brimstone version of Catholic Christianity anymore. And the people that do are isolated and ill-informed and, you know, the sort of cat people.
Yeah.
I'm a cat person, by the way, just to put that out there. And now I feel like I'm talking us into like a hole where there's no conversation happening. I'm now just ranting about about what I don't like. Anyway, we'll bring this out of this territory just for a second, because again, the point of this video, I would hope that people would take away is that, like, all of this stuff happening with Charlottesville and the crazy shit happening over here as well, in the midst of all that, someone like you and someone like me can be really good friends from miles and miles and miles away from each other.
It's you know, that's the cool thing, I feel, and if we can just bring it back to like how we met over the internet, you know, just being able to voice chat. And you know,
and none of that stuff that seems to mattered at all.
Right. And it all, it's so weird because if you look at the internet is just so polarizing. It's everything is one way or the other way. You know, I mean, there's always stuff that is far and few that is in between, but it's so weird because you have people on the internet who are like us, and we don't care what each other looks like. We just care that, you know, are you going to be able to fucking shoot the guy on the right side and I'm going to be able to shoot the guy on the left side?
Yeah, are we backing each other up? Is that it?
Right.
Yeah. And so, mind you say that, but then you did say that I look a lot better with short hair than I do long hair, so hypocrite.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I do agree that you do look better. I think you look. I think it's more fitting.
Oh. Well, I gotta say, dude, now that you've, like, you know, you had your giant beard, I'm still polar. I'm still sort of polar. I don't know why I said that. I'm still sort of torn because, you know, it was a good beard, dude. It was, you know, it was a good beard, but you look good now. Yeah, so I don't know where I am on that.
I don't know. Well, I'll be back and forth on it. I mean, sometimes I grow it. I just shaved the other day, and I had you know, it was coming in. And I mean, not even the other. I shaved the day before yesterday, and like I have to shave. But yeah, it's so crazy because, you know, again, you and I there are people like you and I who don't care about what each other looks like, and we're just we're great friends, I feel.
Yeah.
And then there are people who they get on the internet and they find out, you know, you're a certain race, or you like a certain kind of music, or, you know, you like a certain kind of art, or, you know, you don't like this anime, and they freak out. They flip out on you.
That happened to me.
And they just try and go for the jugular.
Yeah.
On the internet, and they become the ultimate keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
And it's just quite baffling.
Yeah.
How, you know, polarizing really the internet can be. How there's just these apples and oranges rolling around on a keyboard over there.
Yeah. I've got to say though, I've got to bring this up because it happened to me, man. Like there was a weird moment, and I think it was back in the Halo Reach days. When Halo Reach was out, and this is how I decide what time is. I count it in Halo games now.
Halo games.
Yeah. When Reach was out, I was playing away like I did in, you know, And there was a little squeaky kid on there. It was either like a 10-year-old boy or whatever, I don't know. And he was an American kid, and he was like, "Oh my God, get over there!" And I was like, "All right, yeah, yeah." And he goes, "Oh my God, are you British?" And I went, "Yeah." And he went, and he says something like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna have to drop out this game. I can't play with no British people." And I was like, "What? What do you mean by that? What do you mean?" He's like, "No, you're British. I can't play with British people." I said, "You are playing with British people, dude. There were British people involved in the making of this game, whether you like it or not. You know, are you? Let me just ask you." And I said, "Where are you from?" And he told me it was like, I don't know, Minnesota or some state,
some flyover state.
Yeah.
In a cornfield somewhere.
Yeah, that's racist, dude. No, anyway, he said, yeah, he was
that's
from
geographist.
You're geographist. Yeah. Anyway,
geographist.
Yeah, he said wherever he was from, and I was like, well, where are your parents from? And like, oh, they're from, you know, the same place. And I was like, where are their parents from? Oh, they were from Ireland.
Oh.
I was like, all right.
Excuse you.
So British. So you're a little white kid in America, and you think you have to separate yourself from a white dude in England. I mean, what does that mean? And he goes, and he's like, but and I'm going, just shut up, kid. You don't know anything. You're like 10. You know nothing about the world. You don't even know where you fucking come from. Just shut your mouth, stop being a dick, and get on with the game. Are we playing this or not? And he left. It's like,
probably would have sucked anyway.
Yeah. Well, that was the gutting thing. He was quite good. He was a good little player, but I mean, that'll have been why, because he was 10 and he had nothing else to do. He was a good player, but that was the I think. Whoa. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
Super real.
There's a lot gonna get cut out of this video, man. I think I'm gonna end up cutting a lot of me ranting on about shit where you know, I've left you with nothing to say.
Oh well.
Because you know, cause. But yeah, like, our relationship, if you would call it such a thing, has essentially been based around the love of Halo.
Pretty much.
And like, now, whenever we like hang out, we're hanging out in an Xbox party and we're playing Halo 5.
Yeah.
Multiplayer Slayer, I might add, because we don't really subscribe to that Warzone rubbish with the
no
microtransactions and all that terribleness. What do you think about all that pay to win rubbish?
In Halo specifically, or in video games in general?
In general, I suppose, because I mean, Halo is like pretty late to the game on that, because I mean, like, MMOs have been doing it for years. But it sort of works in that format.
Well,
but then for it to become a mainstream thing, and then like AAA console titles be taking that type of thing up, and you know,
I think you know, pay. I think you first have to start this conversation by having a distinction between pay to play and pay to win. Pay to play.
Good point. Yeah.
Pay to play is awesome because you're basically just paying to play the game.
Right.
And
that's what I think Xbox Live goal included. Is.
Yeah.
That's pay to play.
Right. Basically.
But pay to win is what I meant to say. You've corrected me on that, because that's essentially what Halo 5 has become when it comes to the Warzone side of the multiplayer, is it not? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. So, you know, you begin by playing this Warzone thing and you're like, oh, well, I get these rec packs, and you're like, okay, so I get these cool items in these rec packs, and I have to achieve certain things in order to get more rec packs. And then you're eventually like, oh, well, I can just buy rec packs. Yeah. And I can be the best guy at Warzone ever. because I'll always have cards at whatever level.
Yeah, yeah.
So initially, you know, you're playing and everybody's kind of like on the same level and you're just figuring it out. But then eventually you're paying to win. You
Yeah.
know, you're just like, I'm gonna have the best stuff because I can afford it, and it
that's,
sucks
yeah,
because
there's no learning
not everybody
curve.
can do that.
Yeah, that essentially is it. Not everyone can, and there's no learning curve anymore. Like,
Right.
if you start any game, you're essentially a noob. You know, you're a novice at the game because you've literally just got back from the shop or just bought it and downloaded it, and you turn it on for the first time, and you're figuring things out. If you, for example, you know, it's the best example we have because we're probably more versed in this game than any other. If you turn on Halo 5 and after dropping $60 or £50 of your, in some cases, hard-earned money on the game itself, and then drop another 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, or in you know, the hopes of the company, 60, you get everything. And you can have the best weapons in every weapon class, in the best vehicles in every vehicle class, and you can kick ass right out the gate as long as you're willing to double the amount of money that you've already spent on the game.
Yeah, and I think it's just so ridiculous because, you know, before, I mean, maybe we're just spoiled, but I remember coming from a time when you used to pay $30-$40 for a game and you were done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
that's
that
it.
was,
You buy it.
You bought the final version of the game. It didn't need updates. It wasn't broken.
No, yeah.
It was either a bad game or, you know, it was a great game and you played it and it had replay value and you know, you enjoyed that, and it became a staple of your youth or ingrained in your memory somehow.
Well,
or
Halo
you
3
shared it with a friend.
Yeah.
You know,
Halo 3 is a
and that's
perfect
when-
example for this because, like, that's everything you just described.
Right.
And they used to bring out new maps. And
right. Well, that was cool.
It
That
was
cool. Yeah.
It was DLC. And they used to do it in a way where it was like, if you were willing to wait for it, you got it for nothing. If you bought it straight away, then you bought it and you got it straight away. But where was I? Oh God! Right, Halo 3 is the I'm gonna have to do a do-over. Hang on. Right, Halo 3 is like the best example of it because it's everything you said, like everything you described. But they used to drop DLC, as we used to refer to it all the time.
Right. I like DLC. DLC
and it was
used to, back in that time. I thought it was okay.
Because a majority of it was free.
Right.
Or
it was paid content that was worth it because it was stuff that they made after.
Yeah. It wasn't like a continuous thing you had to keep putting money into it. It was like, if you wanted this extra stuff that they had quite clearly put a lot of work into, you could buy it.
Yeah. And it was stuff they made after, you know, production, after everything was done. Then they were like, we should do this. Or, you know, it was something they wanted to put in the game before, but, you know, really good wasn't going to work out, but they revamped it somehow.
Right.
You know, and I just, that was the smart way to do it. I think that was the best way to do it. But the way it is now, where you pay for, it's like you're paying for the rest of the game. You're paying for the game to be fixed. You're paying for, I don't know, you're just paying for everything now, and it's I don't know. I think they've taken the fun out of buying a video game.
Yeah, well, that's it.
And getting this product where you're like, oh man, you know, I'm so happy I bought this.
Yeah, I mean, Halo 3 and Halo 5 are the best examples for me for like how it was done and how it's done now. Halo 5 famously was broken on release. The campaign was full of glitches, so you had nowhere to hide there. the multiplayer was like lackluster at best. It was incomplete essentially. They didn't even have like a basic like set of playlists or anything at the time, apparently, because I didn't get it on release because I was so disappointed with Halo 4, but that's another story that we won't get into.
Right.
But by the time I bought it, they'd fixed a majority of bugs, but they only really fixed that because they were being paid by the like, I suppose at the time it would maybe have been a majority of people buying the rec packs. So money was being filtered in, and they were just doing it, and that's the way they were doing it. And they used money that really should have been taken, that should have been in the budget in the first place, to fix the game, rather than ship a fixed product. I always say, like, I always bring this up as like a precedent to live by, even though people have mixed opinions about it. The Mirror's Edge Catalyst game, the original like announcement trailer said coming when it's ready, which at the time was seen as like, I don't know, somewhat controversial, because the way to do it nowadays is, like you say, you ship a broken game and you fix it by patching
with some updates.
Yeah.
The day one patch, the big 99, gig update.
They're even giving it names now, aren't they? Like, oh, it's the day 12 patch. They're giving it like, no, this is the should have been done before day 1 patch. This should have been done patch.
Right.
This should already have been fixed by the time you saw it patch. Oh man, it does. And like the reason why it hits me so bad, I don't know about you, but like, is that it's Halo, man. It's Halo, the game that
it's something we love, something that we played so much, invested so much time in, and something that's a part of us,
Well, that's
and
it.
It sucks that they're fucking with it, man. It's like,
well, yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like
absolutely.
You have a pet, and then you got that friend that comes over, and he's not good with pets. That's why he doesn't even have pets. His mom doesn't get him any more pets, and he's like poking your freaking hamsters and whatnot. And you're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, don't do that. And that's what 343 is doing to my Halo right now. They're just poking it with a stick, and they're just trying to see how much money they can get out of it.
I think the perfect analogy would be like somebody came in after you said, right, this hamster's my baby, and now I'm going to hand it over to you, and you hand it to that guy, and that's what he does with it. Yeah, exactly. And
it's like, finally, I get to play games with it.
I think they're trying to use the ending of Halo 5 and the popularity of Halo Wars 2 as an excuse to go back somewhat to the old art style. I have heard one or two Halo YouTubers talk about the fact that because of Halo Wars being so popular, and they had like the art style, the style of the Spartan uniform, like armor and things like that, was very much like the first Halo Wars game, which was based off, an updated version of the original Halo game, etc. And the fact that now AI and all that stuff. Well, spoilers if you haven't played the fucking campaign, that like Cortana is a bad guy and she's recruited all the other sort of sentient AIs, and they're all going to come together in some sort of weird collective and be the big bad guys of Halo 6 or whatever, means that they can no longer use the new technology. They can't use the new armor and things like that have been in Halo 4 and Halo 5, because it's so linked to that new technology that the AIs are all based out of. So having to go back to the old Mjolnir armor and things like that makes sense in a narrative sense now. It means that maybe the Chief would have to go straight back to the armor he had in Halo 2 and 3, or possibly even Halo 1, to sort of work off the grid from the AI threat. And I think, however you have to justify it, I've given up on the fact that Halo isn't ever going to play like Halo used to play, but for it to look like it used to look, I'll be happy enough with that. You know,
I just wanted to be fun and have that.
exactly. That would be
that
that would be wonderful.
It's a Halo charm.
You see now,
I think.
I'd credit where credit's due. If you as a player turn on Halo 5 and go straight to the Team Slayer thing,
Which is what I did,
and jump in, yeah, that is literally the only thing in the entirety of everything that has gone into that Halo 5 game that has any resemblance of what Halo used to be to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun, it's fast paced, it's competitive in just the right way. It's like, you know, things are more balanced. I mean, they keep changing things up every now and again, and I think they think that they're improving it somewhat, but like a lot of the time they just sort of throw the balance off a little bit and then go, oh, we'll put that back.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, the point being that the Team Slayer is brilliant to a point where I play Team Slayer on Halo 5 more than any other Halo game in general now.
Yeah.
I haven't played the old Halo games for quite a while since I found the Team Slayer on Halo 5. But for a number of reasons. One being that it's very, very difficult to get back into, say, Halo 3 because of certain things that they've brought to the game in Halo 5 in the Team Slayer thing. Just being able to use that little boost thing to duck out the way of grenades really quickly. You forget about that and you run straight headlong into grenades in, say, Halo 2 or 3, and you're like, oh yeah, you can't do that thing. I've lost... Oh, no. Well, it looks like I've lost John, and I think the reason for that is most probably because he was on his phone, and I think his phone's cut out. Or he's run out of battery or whatever. Anyway, I'll take this opportunity to end the video now with that happening. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, everybody. This has been a sort of unusual video for me, and employing about 3 or 4 different things combined to actually pull this off. And you know, I've had fun doing it. I hope you've had fun watching it. And now the camera's cut out and everything's falling apart. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Please like the video, comment on any of the topics we covered today. Please feel free to tell me what you think about them. And like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, feel free to dislike it. It really doesn't bother me. I want to be as open as possible to to all opinions. And yeah, please do subscribe if you're not already. And again, yeah, watch more stuff. Thanks again.